Welcome to this tutorial video, which will talk you through how to interact with a disaster response on our members area. First, navigate to members.integralalliance.org and then log in using your integraldr.org username and password. If you need reminding what this is, please contact Becky using the help link in the footer of the website. Select the icon on the home page called View Disaster Responses. At the moment, our system has links to integral responses which were started before the development of the disasters functionality on the members area. So to access those, please click on the links here. To access any new disaster response started after the launch date of March 2019, choose your disaster from the list in this table. Only the 5 most current disasters will be shown on this page, so you may need to select page 2 at the bottom of the table if we ever have more than 5 current disasters running at the same time. For this video I am going to use the example of the Cyclone Idai response, so I will click on that now. Every new disaster on the system will have this landing page, which contains a dashboard of key information which the Secretariat keeps up to date. The icons at the top of the dashboard show you lots of different ways to interact with this disaster. This icon allows you to opt in or out if you've not already done so, or to change your decision. We have a separate video which instructs you how to opt into or out of a disaster, which you can access using the link that appears on your screen now. When you've finished with any page, you will always be given 2 options. Either you can return to the disaster overview using this icon, which takes you back to where we were, or you can move forwards to view all members. If you choose to view all members' involvement from any screen, you will always then again be given 2 options. Either you can click to go back and update your information, that takes us back to where we were, or you can move to view the member response overview. I'll come back to that later on in this video. For now, let's go back to the disaster overview and keep moving through the icons. This second icon asks you to update your disaster contacts for this disaster. Please select your contacts within the first 24 hours after the alert, before the first conference call. This will really help all Integral members to contact the right people in your organisation. Note that a contact can only be selected once. If your contact does not appear in this drop-down list and you need to add them, you can do so using this button. We want all columns to be filled in for every contact. If one of the columns is empty, again, please edit the contact using this button. Now let's go back to the disaster overview dashboard and look at the next icon, which is response plans. The information you put on the response plans page may be aspirational following an integral alert, but please do revisit this page to add more detail as your plans develop. Sharing and updating this information will help other members to identify where there are shortfalls in funding. We have a separate video which tells you how to use this page. You can see the link to it on your screen now. Let's go back to the dashboard and look at the next icon, which is income. Integral members share a commitment that they will prioritise funding their own partners and other members' partners within the Integral response before they fund organisations outside of Integral. We realise that you will already have given us some information about the funding you need or have received for specific proposals in the response plans section, the page we've just looked at. However, we also monitor how much funding our members have raised in total and shared with other partners and each other. We collect this information at 3, 6 and 12 months into an integral response and turn it into infographics. So, as this message tells you, you're safe to ignore this page until you're formally asked to update it by the Secretariat. When you do come to fill in this page, it will tell you which period you are reporting for. We have a separate video which tells you how to use this page. You can see a link to it on your screen now. Let's go back to the dashboard and look at the next icon, which is Ops Files. Ops Files are very straightforward. Use this page to add or download any document relevant to this disaster. Your member will be taken from your username. Select the right document type from this drop-down list, give your document a title, and then either attach a file or link to a URL. You can add both if you want, but usually you'll only want to do one or the other. And then when you're ready, select Add. The date created will automatically appear once your file has been added. You can come back to this screen and edit your file if it changes, or delete it if it's no longer relevant. But please, only edit or delete your own files. If you need to search for documents and there's a big long list, you can use this search functionality at the top of the screen. Now let's go back to the dashboard and look at the next icon, which is Comms Files. Again, Comms Files are very straightforward. You choose a disaster from this list and then you'll be redirected to the Google Drive, where you can see all the comms files shared for that disaster. To share a link to your organisation's own photo library, create a clearly titled Google Doc which contains the link and add it to the Images folder for the correct disaster. Please pay attention to this information on the right-hand side of the screen, as some members will be unable to use your resources unless these details are provided. There's no icon in this page to return to the disaster overview because this page is not linked to our database. Therefore, just press Back in your internet browser to go back to the dashboard. Conference calls. The conference calls page should always show the date and time of the next call at the top of the page here. This information is also available on the disaster response dashboard we've just come from. The Secretariat will link in individual Google Docs to this page or link into the Google Drive folder, which contains the agendas and minutes for calls related to this disaster. If a large number of calls are listed, you can sort the calls by date by clicking on this column header. Now let's go back to the dashboard and look at the next icon, which is Beneficiaries. We use this page to allow you to formally report how many individuals have been served and in which sectors for this disaster. As with the income page, please ignore this page until you are formally requested to update it by the Secretariat. We have a separate video which tells you how to use this page. You can see the link to it on your screen now. Now let's go back to the dashboard and look at the next icon. The final icon is the Member Response Overview. Now, whereas this dashboard, which we call the Disaster Overview, only really lets you enter and see your own details, the Member Response Overview allows you to see what all members are doing in this response. So you can see that these icons look very similar, with the difference that they often have the word all in them. We have a separate video which tells you how to use this page. You can see the link to it on your screen now. So that's the end of this whistle-stop tour of the different ways you can interact with an integral disaster response. But don't hesitate to contact me if you have any other questions.